I realized I can have whatever I want through orgasm. There is a portal that literally opens up between heaven and earth, and I can ask for whatever I want and get it in the middle of an orgasm. That is the power we have as women.
For generations, women were shamed for trusting themselves, sensing things before they happen, and believing in their own power. No one encouraged them to embrace it until now. Welcome to Trust Yourself.
Hi, I'm Elise, but my sister calls me Sissy.
And I'm her sister, Heidi.
And we're your psychic sisters here to help you remember that we can all connect to our innate abilities as long as we trust ourselves. So today, grab your sweatpants and dim the lights, ladies.
Ooh, yes.
This episode's going to get a little steamy. I'm excited. Many of us were taught that spirituality and sexuality were completely separate or even in conflict with each other, right? But our conversation today is going to poke some major holes in that theory.
There's so many puns that we could go with on these.
Oh, God. Well, and at the end of this conversation, you are going to see that reconnecting to our bodies as women, reconnecting to our pleasure and our desire is a beautiful and fun path back to our intuition and creativity and our power. Pleasure can be something sacred, not shameful. To explore this idea, we are joined by Shae Primus, a luxury matchmaker, dating coach, and author of an upcoming erotic memoir that dives into healing, pleasure, and how we need to start unleashing the power of orgasmic manifestations. Yes, you heard me correctly.
Yes. Yes. Let's go.
Heidi's manifesting right now.
Yes, I am.
Yep, orgasmic manifestations. I did not misspeak. You heard that right. So this episode is bold and honest and definitely a little steamy, so consider yourself warned. Eek! Let's bring Shae into the conversation. One more thing before we begin, we want to let you know that part of our interview with Shae does include discussion of sexual assault. Our conversation is focused on reclaiming power and overcoming shame, but some listeners may find this content upsetting. So please take care while listening, and if it's not for you, we have plenty of other episodes for you to check out. Welcome, Shae. Thank you so much for being here. We are super duper excited for this interview because it's a little different than what we've done before. And well, you're going to see. I'm
so excited.
I'm really excited because I also wore a t-shirt today because I thought just in case I get a little warm and steamy in here.
That's a good idea. I should have done that. I'm going to be sweating here.
Yes, maybe.
Shae, for our listeners meeting you for the first time, how do you describe the work that you do as a matchmaker and now author?
Yeah, so I'm Shae Primus. I am a luxury matchmaker here in Atlanta. I work with my clients nationwide. Most of my clients are high-performing women, and high-performing women tend to be high performers in every area, and that typically means they overfunction in relationships. That's the pattern I started to notice with my clients and with myself. So my work as an author, it's for those people. My message is to the high-performing women. So I think I call myself a cultural commentator from that perspective.
I love it.
Having worked with these women and being one myself, my book is to those women, to those people, to that audience.
Yes, we work a little hard, a little too hard sometimes, and we need to have some fun.
Yes. And we overperform in every area. Like if we're on the school board, we're going to overperform. If I'm the class mom, I'm going to overperform. Like we're overperforming in the community, in friendships, and certainly in relationships.
I feel that to my core.
Yeah.
Anything less than even an A- is holy shit,
Right.
That's not good enough.
And let's talk about that. We've been trained to make A's. Like we're A students. We've been trained to get the grade. So we're going to go get it.
Yes, we are. So you've been open about growing up around a strong purity culture.
Yeah.
And those types of messages. So how did that shape your early understanding of sexuality and your body?
I think religion, or as I've experienced it through Christianity, um, taught a lot of shame because sex was only to be done within the confines of marriage. So anything outside of that was simple. So I spent a lot of my youth asking for forgiveness, because I was lusting or, wanting to fornicate or having urges, and I'm constantly repenting. I thought something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
I began to shame my body, and it's really unhealthy what those messages do for us, because these are natural feelings, natural occurrences, and to have shame placed around anything like that, it's just not godly, if you ask me. So what I learned from that is that patriarchy is everywhere, even in our bodies, in the messages that we've been taught about our bodies. Patriarchy is there.
Yeah.
Patriarchy exists in the shame, exists in the, how women should behave, what's ladylike, what are we supposed to do? All of that is patriarchy, right? It's not natural at all.
I totally agree. And it affects everyone, men and women.
Yes.
Definitely impacts the women a lot.
sure.
But yeah, it does. It impacts us all. Patriarchy is here to keep us all down so that the rich may rise.
Yes. And to put certain people in power, right? Because we notice that only women's bodies are regulated in these religious systems through the patriarchy. Men are free to do whatever they please. It's the woman who has to be chaste and has to be virgins, right? And it's like very interesting, because how is he getting all this experience? Who's he doing it with?
Yeah.
Also, like the whole idea of birth control and let's regulate that on women. But if we say to a man, well, why don't you just get a vasectomy? I mean, it can be reversed.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. That's not okay. So.
Right. And how birth control is not easily accessible for us, but Viagra is for them.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's just seeped in everything, every aspect.
Yes. And the amount of studies done on just a man's penis. Sorry.
Absolutely. And even in gynecology, like in medicine, period, they have not studied women's bodies. So a lot of these things that we know, that doctors know about bodies, was on the male body, not even on women. They don't even know that they're just learning about menopause. They're just learning about perimenopause. Like, it's so crazy, the things they don't know about our bodies.
Yeah. I just had that discussion with my doctor yesterday, actually, about perimenopause phases. And she's like, well, lucky you, we're just really diving into it now. I'm like, lucky me? You guys should have known about this long ago.
Exactly. Because it's not brand new. It's not new at all.
No. And so because of all of this, because you're recognizing all of this patriarchy, you have done a lot of healing work, and you describe your work as healing through pleasure.
Absolutely.
Can you explain what that means? Because I'm pretty sure none of my therapists gave me this advice.
No. And none of my therapists told me either. I mean, when we think about healing, we think therapy, we think meditation, you think, I need to take a hiatus. I'm healing. I'm in my healing journey. My healing journey looked like this: sex, pleasure. What do you want? How do you want it? Where do you want it? When do you want it? That is what my healing journey looked like. And that saying, the best way to get over one man is to get under another.
Yeah.
Well, I got under another and another and another and on top of another. Yes. And the next thing I knew, I had healed. It's like each person put something back in me, and I realized pleasure is power. Pleasure is healing. I didn't even know that I could heal through pleasure, but I can. But because the patriarchy has shamed women, we lose sight of our intuition, that creative force behind us, that force that tells us what we need. I learned that sex is energizing, that when I have sex with these men, I create. I leave ready to build something, ready to move something, because I'm energized from all of their energy. I flipped it, and I became so much more powerful because I understood to prioritize my pleasure, to prioritize myself and what I wanted. I didn't even care what they got out of it. It was about me.
Yes.
That was my goal. And it was such a powerful experience. I'm here to stay.
Yeah. I'm assuming it wasn't always that way. Like, you weren't just ready to go and like, oh, I love sex and I'm confident in myself. When was that moment for you that it shifted from shame to just power?
That's a very good question. I think over the course of my life, absolutely to your point, because I grew up in the Baptist church and Christianity in the South, the deep South, with this is the Bible Belt. So we grow up quoting scriptures and, I grew up with all of that. I literally wore Jesus socks in college. Okay. I was a whole church girl with scriptures on my dorm door. Like, trust me, I grew up with it. I even took a vow of purity.
Wow.
Vowing to keep myself chaste until I got date raped by a youth pastor.
A youth pastor.
A youth pastor who
Wow.
prayed after raping me. And when I called his pastor to share what happened, he asked what I was wearing.
No, Shae.
Are you sure you didn't do anything to entice him? Yes, those were the questions. Absolutely. Because that is what patriarchy is.
Yeah.
If we get raped, what were we wearing? What did you have on? What did you do to entice him?
Mhm.
Because he lacked self-control, right?
Wow.
So no, I didn't start off this way. It's been a long journey of unlearning the stuff that I had been taught about my body, about my pleasure. I stopped berating myself for the things that I wanted and began to embrace it. Hey, this is how I'm made. I enjoy sex and I don't have to apologize for it. I don't need to ask permission. I'm fully grown. This is how God made me. Then let's go for it. Even confronting the idea that I'm bisexual. Like, I don't hide that. I'm not going to be shamed for it. So sometimes my pleasure looks like a man. Sometimes my pleasure looks like a woman or two. That's all about what I want, and it's what I choose. Pleasure is power. I took my power back. I took my choice back. And it's sexual sovereignty. That's how I see it. I move in sovereignty. And let me tell you something. It drives these men crazy that they can't control me.
Yep.
That they can't dictate which way I'm going to go because I'm not tethered to anybody. It drives them crazy. But I move in sexual sovereignty.
But I bet a healed man loves it, like drives them crazy in a good way. They're like, this woman knows what she wants and I'm here for it.
Some of my play partners definitely celebrate me and my freedom and my liberation, and I'm here for it. Sometimes they do get a little possessive, right? Like after a few sessions, they feel like they don't want me to be with anybody else. So they try to, who else have you been with? They do start asking those questions, and I have to remind them, this is mine. I'm mine. I don't belong to you. You don't get to regulate me. Because that is also patriarchy, to slut shame somebody, for having desire, for having multiple partners, for whatever they're choosing to do. When you place judgment on them, that's part of the patriarchy as well.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier a little bit about intuition and energy. So I know a lot of women listening to our podcast are trying to reconnect with their intuition. Yes. And you talk about erotic energy as kind of a spiritual intelligence.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Oh my God. I wish more women knew that, like, the divine feminine she is awakened inside of us. And she's like, listen, I've never been soft and submissive. I've never been that person that they painted me to be. Like, I've always been a creator. This is who she is. And she lives in all of us, right? And what I find is that when I tap into my most primal instinct, the erotic energy is so creative. Like I told you, I get ideas. Yeah. We talked about orgasmic manifestation. I realize I can have whatever I want through orgasm. Like in the moment, there is a portal that literally opens up between heaven and earth, and I can ask for whatever I want and get it in the middle of an orgasm. That is the power we have as women that nobody tells us about.
Yeah.
No. We didn't learn this in sex ed. What the hell?
I know.
It's so powerful. It's so amazing.
If sex ed were talking about orgasmic manifestations, I'm pretty sure all the girls would be leaning in like, say more, please.
Exactly. That's why they don't want us to know our power. Because do you know, if we all knew that, we could really run this world. Like, we could really run it.
I love it.
Yes. So that's why I'm very curious to hear more about this orgasmic manifestation.
Yes, Shae, please tell us every single step that we need to know. Please. I'm taking notes. Here we go. Let's do this.
And how did you figure this out? Well, obviously,
Well, after I got date raped in college, I had taken the vow of purity. So I found masturbation as a loophole. Like, well, if nobody's penetrating me and I'm just touching myself, then I'm still pure, right?
Mhm.
But remember, I had just gotten date raped. So I started speaking beautiful things to myself during my masturbation sessions. Like, you are so beautiful. You're so smart. I was in college. So I was just pushing my way through, like, you're still going to finish. You're going to be successful one day. I started speaking little things to myself. And the more I did it, the more I believed it. I didn't
Mm.
understand orgasmic manifestation at that time, but it was healing me. Each
Yeah.
session was healing me. I went from not wanting to be touched by anybody at all to really embracing myself and understanding who I was. So now, fast forward, when I'm trying to manifest something, I can either do it by myself or with a partner. So if you're in a marriage or you're in a sacred partnership with someone that you can touch and agree, you can let that person know that this is something you're trying to manifest. And when you get to the point of orgasm, you could just speak that thing into existence at that
Yes.
moment. It is so powerful. It's like a prayer.
Yeah.
It's like you touching and agreeing at the same time. The portal opens, and it's like your wish is my command. That's just how I feel.
Ooh, I got chills.
Yes, it's a beautiful experience. Please try it and let me know.
Oh, heck
We'll
yeah.
report back.
Yes,
Don't you worry.
please do.
Yeah. I'm going to have to, give my husband a little heads up. Like, okay, if I say something weird at the end of this, just go along with me.
Yeah, I have manifested so much, y'all. I've manifested my home. I've manifested money. I've manifested my baby because I wanted my little girl. I manifested her through orgasmic manifestation. Like, I get whatever I want this way.
That's incredible. And what's even more beautiful is that you took something that was so triggering and yet you pushed through it in a more beautiful way. Like you
Yes.
still masturbated, which could be
Yeah.
like scary for some people.
Yeah.
But you turned it into something absolutely beautiful. And oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. And I wish
Thank
that
you.
like more people could do this. It must not have been easy, I'm sure.
No. And I'm not going to sit here and say it was easy because at that time I was heartbroken. I was crushed. I mean, this was a youth pastor, right? So
Yeah.
you're thinking, and just imagine I'm like 19. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy, he's praised. He knows the scripture. He's perfect. We were literally in Bible study together, he and I. He's like, come over, let's study the word. Now, of course, grown me knows I shouldn't have done that. But I went to his house and we're quote unquote having Bible study and he raped me. He
Oh,
just he just took it. And then he got down on his knees and prayed about it. Asked
That's
for forgiveness,
disgusting.
not to me, but to God. But I'm laying there crying. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
wow. Well, I'm glad you're able to talk about it now. You're
Absolutely.
able to manifest. You're able to share your
Yes.
story too with others that have most likely gone through the same thing. Unfortunately, this is way too common. Even with people in religious circles, it's insanely
Absolutely.
common. You've also written a book, an erotic memoir that is coming out soon, which is not
Yes.
something we hear about every day in the personal growth space. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your book and what's something that you want the reader to take away from it?
What I realize is that every experience that I have had has been like curriculum for me. Every relationship, every lover, I don't regret any of it, any of those experiences, because I can recognize what I learned. What was the lesson there? And if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be this person you're talking to if I hadn't had all those experiences. And that's just what I wrote about. One of the things I realized, sex has always been important to me. So when I look back at my relationships, I've had some steamy, passionate moments. So I captured that in each chapter. Each chapter is going to be that. It's definitely going to be erotic memoir, but also there are lessons learned. Here's what I learned in this process. So this is what I learned about myself. This is what I learned about that person. These are things I'm never going to do again. And so the thing for me is when we stop prioritizing our other partner and we prioritize ourselves. And I think that men do a great job at prioritizing themselves. Let me tell you, they put themselves first no matter what. Even in loving relationships, they
Yeah.
are going to do what's best for them. We don't. And it's often to our own detriment, right? Because we self sacrifice and we give and give and give and give until we're depleted. Who does that serve? It doesn't serve us at all. But we're taught that that's what we're supposed to be as women. We're supposed to give. We're supposed to nurture and sacrifice. And you know what? I'm in a season of choosing myself. And that's what my book is about. It's about what happens when you stop prioritizing other people and you start choosing yourself and you lead with what makes you happy, with what nourishes you. Because oftentimes we're left undernourished if we
Yeah.
really want to be honest about it. Who's thinking about nourishing us, right?
Mm-hmm. No one except ourselves. So
Yes.
I love that one. It seems like, one of your themes in your book is that idea of stop fixing the broken birds in your
Yes.
relationships and start focusing on yourself. But,
Yes.
to all of our friends out there who are still in these relationships where they are giving their all to everyone else but themselves, what would you say to them to help them stop and maybe reevaluate?
Yeah, and I'm certainly not anti-relationship. I'm a matchmaker, for goodness sake. I just think we can shift the paradigm to focus on ourselves. I'm going to tell you, it does drive men wild when you are focused on yourself because they see that you value you. So I need to value you, right? Because when we
Yeah.
focus on them, they start focusing on them. When we think we look at them so highly, then they look at themselves so highly, right? I am all that and a bag of chips for real. That's how I feel about myself. And I focus on me. I just think that women should focus on themselves, especially in marriages, as a mom. You will find yourself depleted if you don't carve out time for you. It's just something we have to do. It's
Yeah.
self-care. We have to do that.
So when does this book come out?
It comes out in June. I'm so excited about it. I don't think we've seen anything like this before. And I'm
No.
pretty
No?
excited. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. And we'll put the link in our show notes to get
Yes.
so people can pre-order your book.
Yes. Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure Heidi's going to have your book as part of our
Book club, baby.
Part of our
Let's
book
do
club.
it.
Yes.
I'm
Thank you
so
so
excited.
In our
much.
membership.
Of course. I mean, exactly like you said, there's not anything like this. And we all had a conversation prior to this recording, but we were talking about how in the book space and in self-help, it's kind of stale. Self-help books now are so stale. And it's a beautiful thing to think about. Why can't we just start doing self-help books with just, sharing our stories and memoirs and even fiction can be self-help. It doesn't have to just be its own little tiny section anymore.
No, I agree. When I wrote my book, it was like the point of view of we don't have our parents' stories because that generation didn't share. They're not very transparent about what they've gone through and the ups and downs. And I have a little girl. And if I were to die today, I want her to know the lessons that I've learned and what I got out of life. So you don't have to repeat the same mistakes. One of the things I want her to be able to do is take the wisdom without the wounds. If I can keep her from making the same mistakes and going through the same things that I went through, and she gets the wisdom that I've experienced 40 years in, that's going to set her up for success, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote it from that perspective. I know some of the parts might be, uncomfortable to read, but it's essential. You need to know this as a woman. These are things you need to know. I want you to choose yourself, baby girl, every step of the way. Choose yourself every step. Seriously, I think she will be her most powerful self if she does that.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
agree.
And Shae, I have a question because I also have a little girl and I also was a little girl at some point. And I remember so vividly as a young child discovering myself and didn't know what it was called, obviously, but there was a feeling that I got and I was like, I really like this feeling. I want to keep getting it. And I would keep getting it. And I got walked in on. My mom came in one day and was like, what are you doing? Stop that, stop that. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? So immediately feeling shameful for masturbating as a child, which again, it's a natural thing. But I bring this up because I recently, oh my God, my daughter's going to kill me. But I may have discovered something that she was doing. And I was like, immediately caught myself from saying any blurt outs of, oh my God, what are you doing? I was like, okay, well, I don't know how to handle this. So I'm just going to take a breath and kind of walk away, gather myself and decide how I'm going to approach this. I do not want to give her any shame. And we worked our own thing out. But what would you say to parents or moms who maybe are in the same boat right now and they're kind of navigating how do I not put shame on my child for masturbating?
It's really, I have a son too, and it never crosses your mind to shame your son. You,
Oh
you
my
know, when
God,
your
yes.
lotion bottles start going missing, you know it's happening. You know it's happening. They stay in the
So
shower for a
true.
whole hour. You know it's happening. It's just the shame for the little girl. Like, don't do that. That's.
Yeah.
My mom walked in on me because I used to hump pillows
Yep.
as a little girl.
I'm pretty sure we did like teddy bears. So
You know,
Yeah.
it's like because you find that place and it feels good and it's okay. It's put there for us. And I am not shaming my daughter at all. I'm going to tell her what that is. She knows she has a vagina. When she discovers her clitoris, I'm going to let her know that it's powerful. Maybe I won't tell her about orgasmic manifestation right so early. She's only 6. But I cannot wait till we can have this discussion where I can tell
Yes.
her, you have a portal where you can get whatever you want. You know how excited I'm going to be to have that conversation
Yes.
with her. To tell her, like, listen, girl, you can get whatever you want. And it's only for us. Like, nobody else has it. Like,
Wow.
Women bring life from one portal to the other, from heaven to earth. Like, that's our gift. That's just what we have. And they don't want us to know how powerful we are, but we are super powerful. Anyway, I can't wait to share that with my daughter. I do not plan to slut shame her in any way.
No.
It's gonna be there. It's gonna be a celebration when she discovers that part of herself.
Oh, I love that. And that is such a good point about comparing the boys and girls because you're right. And I literally hadn't even thought of that before. Like, why do we just like, oh, that's just boys. They're just masturbating. But girls is like, oh my God, clutch your pearls. What are you doing? Like
patriarchy.
I don't understand.
Exactly. It's the patriarchy.
Wow. I'm so glad we're having this conversation, honestly.
I think we should all be a little bit more open with having healthy relationships around sexuality and conversations around sexuality with our kids, no matter, how old they are. I know some people are like, oh, that's weird. Don't shelter them. But they're gonna find out eventually. And if we approach it with love and this is how we're meant to be, like, why would God make, oh my gosh, I sound so Minnesotan. Why would God, why would God make masturbation and orgasms feel so good if it was bad? I'm sorry. No. That's always been my question.
There's an appropriate time and place. Obviously, you don't do it in class in front of your friends, so that you talk to them about appropriateness. It's definitely something that you do in private, but hey, I can't wait for her to discover herself. When I discovered masturbation in college, I had a bullet in my car. I was in traffic with my bullet. I was in love with that thing. I couldn't listen. Traffic could be 2 hours. I would have had 6, 7 orgasms in this time.
Hell yeah!
Traffic. It's a beautiful thing. I love it so much.
That's so smart. I know what I'm going to ask for my birthday. Thank you.
Keep it in the glove box.
Yes. I love this.
So Shae, I'm curious, how do you incorporate all of this into your matchmaking? And explain, like, what do you do as a matchmaker?
I don't incorporate this as a matchmaker. I will say not necessarily. This is like me, my real self as a matchmaker. People come to me to find love. So it's understanding what they're looking for and helping them to find it, right? So it's very different. I think it's a very different world. I do have a sex therapist as a part of my matchmaking team. And I think it's important to understand sex preferences. Like, people are into all kinds of things. Are you into kinks? Do you like whips and chains? Are you hanging from the chandelier? Like, I like to learn all about you from a sexual perspective because so many people get together and they're not sexually compatible. You can be financially compatible. You can be lifestyle compatible. But listen, if you're not sexually compatible, and that's the thing you're going to be doing the most of in your relationship, it's not going to work. I know myself, when I get with someone who's super vanilla and they don't want to do anything, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? So it's important to know the thing that you're going to be doing the most of. Do you like doing the same things, or are you even open to trying them? So I do have that. I think that's where it blends in. I have an astrologer on my team. So I think people know that I'm not traditional in those senses, but I don't think I totally let my freak flag fly as a matchmaker because it's just not appropriate. It's about finding them, someone that they're compatible with.
Yeah, we do still need some people to challenge the norm. And I love that you're pushing that just a little bit. Like, hey,
just a little.
What about this?
Because my clients, I'm going to tell you, a lot of them are into like BDSM. So that's when I started going to BDSM events. Wealthy people can be the kinkiest people you ever want to meet. They're into some things,
I
right?
could see that.
I have had to learn that. I had a surgeon who was a cuckold. You ask, what is a cuckold? He really liked for his woman to go out and sleep with other men. And when she came home, it would turn him on that she had slept with somebody else. If they had had sex and the guy finished in her, oh, that did it for him. That he liked it. He called it sloppy seconds.
Oh my
I had to learn
God.
about it. I know it's a thing. It's a real thing. He's a whole surgeon. He was like, I don't need her to work. I will take care of her. I want her to be a hot wife. I want her to go sleep with men, come home, tell me all about it. I'm going to meet her at the door and tear her up. Like, that's what he wanted.
Wow.
So I had to get into the scene to find the type of people for my clients.
Yep.
Wow.
I have a question. You can use this as a healing thing because you put a lot of intention behind it of like, this is for me and I love myself and I know that I'm doing this, but maybe this is just like in my brain and like the societal conditioning. But could it be that people are using sex kind of to mask some feelings or like hide behind things? Like, could you do some sort of like, you know, you like a wild kink because you have some sort of unhealed trauma that you haven't really fixed, but you're using it as like a mask?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just a question.
No, it's real. Absolutely. I was just I'm in a kink group and we were sharing like how we like consensual non-consent, but most of us who like consensual non-consent have been raped or molested. It is definitely a tie-in. I'm not a therapist, but I will say that I'm pretty sure that a lot of us have some type of trauma that we're working through. It's funny, but kink and sex can be healing because even though I've experienced molestation and date rape, I enjoy consensual non-consent with a partner when I feel safe, and it's healing for me because this is someone that I find safety in. So when they attempt to rape me, it's healing. I know that probably sounds counterintuitive,
it makes
but
sense.
when you find safety in that person, it is healing. So sex, I stand on sex can be healing because I've experienced it for myself. Does that mean we have trauma? Yeah, we probably, a lot of us do. I'm not gonna lie to you, but most people do. Like if you think about it, most people have some type of trauma.
Yeah, like you can't get out of life unscathed. I think.
You're not gonna get out unscathed. It might not be this trauma, but you might have something else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and in your case, I feel like what you are doing, because I'm also not a therapist, so take this with a grain of salt, but it seems like you're kind of recreating that, but on your own terms. And that's why it feels healing.
That's the power. That's when it becomes power. These are my terms. I set the rules. I decide how I want it, when I want it, who I want it with, as much as I want it. And in that power play makes the difference because you're not imposing your will on me. I'm telling you what I want and you're making my wishes come true. So that in and of itself is powerful. It's healing. I have experienced so much pleasure and so much healing because I get to decide what I want. There are men that you can describe a scene, you can make it up, and they will make it happen for you. I love it. The kink scene is amazing. I can say, I would like to have 5 of you all, and I can make up something. And they'll go, we'll do it for you. Period.
Oh my gosh. Shae, you have to tell us what is the craziest scene that you have played out, the role play that you've done.
Oh, that's a good one. The craziest one? I probably can't. I don't know. Can I say anything on this?
You can
show?
say anything. We are labeled as explicit for a reason.
Oh, let me just say, Mom, fast forward real quick.
Oh yeah, Mom, you can skip this.
I orchestrated what would be a gangbang, like, what I wanted. So I have one of my playmates who he's the type that likes sloppy seconds. So it was a threesome. It was myself and 2 guys. And then the third guy likes having sex with me after I have sex with somebody else. So he wants you to be filled with the other people. And then he comes in, turns him all the way on. So I said, suck it out. And he did. And then he put it back in. I know it sounds so crazy, but I felt like a freaking goddess. Do you hear me?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this. You're just like, do this. And they're like, yep.
Do this.
Yes.
Okay, girl.
And they do. And then I said, worship me. And then they're speaking affirmations on me. You're so beautiful. Just whatever I want them to say, they say it. It's the most rewarding, empowering, situation. Because when you think about it, I know growing up, I thought, oh, that's so degrading to have multiple men. All those men touching on you, rubbing on you, and speaking life into you at the same time. Oh my God. It's amazing.
Yes.
Shae, I feel like you should have a bachelorette workshop or something, because that would be so fun.
Good idea.
Can I come?
Yes, that's a great idea.
It doesn't have to be just for bachelorettes. It could be for anybody. No. I think you should have a workshop. It would be fun.
I want to give people permission to do what the heck they want to do. Like, just do it. Like, as long as it's consensual and you're not hurting anybody, go do it. We're adults.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. Let's say you're a person who is like normally quite vanilla, but you want to explore. What's like a good like first or second step that you could take? Asking for a friend.
No, asking for a friend. I think that's very good. I think if you're very vanilla, let me put myself in that situation. I think you can write down. I'm far from it, right? Far from it. But I think you can write down, like, what are some things you'd be willing to do? Like, maybe make a list. What are some things you're willing to do right now? What are some things you would like to do far in the future? What are some things that feel like, maybe not right now, but next level? And just like chart it out, start prioritizing so that you can start doing something, If it's, I would like to kiss a girl, like maybe that's your thing. Just try that, and then you can work your way up to maybe doing other things with a girl, whatever it is. Like, I think I would start like at the first, second, third tiers.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much.
I know I always have like Friends references, but this totally reminded me of the episode in Friends where everybody was saying the craziest place they had sex, and Rachel is like, at the foot of the bed. Like,
yeah. Yep. I think for me, the craziest place was in Morocco with my ex. This is so bad, but like there was this like huge mosque.
Say more.
I know, it's so horrible. It's so horrible. But like we snuck off in the bathroom and,
I love it.
We had a very holy encounter.
Exactly. I bet you manifested some massive ass shit during that.
Oh my God. Because think about all the people are in there praying.
Yep, exactly. All of the beautiful energy.
They're just, enhancing your manifestation.
Amplifiers.
For me, orgasm is prayer. That's my spirituality. You know what I mean? So I am
You were just praying. Yeah. You can't get in trouble for praying in a mosque.
Right. No, but we did sneak off and it was in the bathroom. It wasn't in public, but
yes.
That's awesome. Shae, I love this conversation, and I'm hoping that our listener did too. After they're probably a little sweaty right now.
Yeah, I literally have boob sweat right now. It's dripping. I can feel it. It's pretty steamy.
This was so much fun. Thank you all for letting me talk and kiki with you.
I love it so much.
If you have maybe one last thing you want our listener to take away about spirituality and sexuality, is there one last thing you'd love to leave us with?
There's no separation between spirituality and sexuality. I think people want you to believe that they're separate, but they're really not. And that's why it's important to tap in and hear your inner voice. What does she want? What is she saying for you to do? Because like I said, I manifest the most beautiful things through orgasm. That's how I know that they're connected, that God is saying, you have a portal. You can literally ask me for whatever you want. Tap in, literally tap in. There is no separation. I wish people knew that.
I'm so glad you're sharing it with us. So we might have to end it here so I can go tap in real quick.
Yep, we're going to go tap in. Tap in.
Shae, thank you so much. This has been so fun. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thanks, Shae. Whew. Ooh, is it hot in here? Is it just me? Oh my God. I feel like really excited for some reason.
I'm so excited. I'm so stimulated.
I'm so stimulated, and I didn't even use my toy yet.
Oh my God. I'm ready to manifest. Let's go manifest right now.
I can't wait. Oh my God. That was such a necessary conversation. And I hope that this sparks more conversation amongst everybody, literally, to just start talking about this stuff, because nobody has ever, I've never heard anybody talk about this. And that's wild. Right? Why are we living in 2026 and nobody's talking about this?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
This conversation is so powerful. and one we need to be having so much more because it goes deep into the guilt of pleasure, especially for women. We have always been framed as the problem, right?
Yep.
Especially women in the Bible. Like Eve was blamed for the fall of humanity, and Mary Magdalene was labeled as a sinner instead of a spiritual leader, which she was.
Yeah.
But maybe that the forbidden women, they weren't dangerous because they were sinful. They were dangerous because they were powerful. And I love that Shae is reclaiming that woman. Ugh,
yeah.
For all of us.
It's so powerful. Seriously. You know, this made me think of yesterday. I was wearing a white tank top around my house with no bra because I don't want to wear a bra anymore.
Who does?
I don't think we should have to, but it made me think of like, I couldn't go out in public like this without people staring or like making a comment probably. And it just got me thinking like, why do I have to make myself uncomfortable by wearing a tight, restrictive bra just so you don't see nipples? Like they're fucking
God
nipples. Everybody has nipples, even kittens.
I know.
Greg has nipples.
Men don't have to cover up their nipples.
I don't understand why you can't just walk out of the house wearing a shirt and no bra. I mean, you can definitely do it, but I feel like there shouldn't be shame around that anymore. No. And I think Shae has given me the power and the mindset of like, just fucking do it. And then if people keep staring, I'll just be like, my eyes are up here, you know? My eyes are up here. And I'm not going to make myself uncomfortable to prevent you from being uncomfortable. It's not going to happen.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And we need to start pleasuring ourselves again.
We do. I do, but but have no shame around it. That's the thing.
Yeah. And the way I see it is if pleasure makes women powerful, as Shae says it does, which we need to try that. If pleasure makes women powerful and creative and self-trusting, then of course, systems built on control are going to try and shame it because a woman who feels guilt about her body is so much easier to control than a woman who feels powerful in her body. She's not going to be controlled. So, so it feels like we can be rebellious by following our desires and our pleasure.
There you go. So the next time you're masturbating, just say, I'm rebelling. I'm rebelling. Be sure to check out Shae's upcoming book. All of the information is in our show notes. It is on pre-order and it comes out in June. So don't forget to grab that because you know it's going to be the next 50 Shades of Grey, but it'll actually teach you something too. So can't wait.
50 Shades of Grey in the self-help area. Hell yes. I'm reading it.
Sign me up, baby. Sign me up.
All right, Heidi, let's do the tarot for the week. And I can't wait to see what the tarot says.
All right. How can we tap into our feminine power this week? What should we focus on for pleasure? I can't wait to find out.
What?
We got the llama, which is endurance. Keep going, baby. You think you always have one orgasm? No. You keep going. You give yourself multiple orgasms. We are in it for the long haul with the llama today. This oracle deck. And also, I decided to take the Wild Soul oracle cards for this because it feels like Shae made my soul a little wild. So the llama, guys, it's not me. It's the llama.
The universe is so funny. It's so fucking funny. This was so great. I am so glad Shae talked to us. I'm so glad we had this conversation. I feel good. All right.
Okay, let's go tap in. Should we go,
all right,
go tap in?
Checking out, signing off. Until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count.
Oh, God.
Bye.
Bye.